If you are interested in starting your own podcast, we use Buzzsprout because it is simple and easy to use. Buzzsprout can get your show listed on every major platform while giving you the resources for a great podcast website, audio players that can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening to your podcast, and tools to promote your episodes. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and that is why over 100,000 podcasters are already subscribed to Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Following the link in our episode descriptions lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you. So in return, you will receive a $20 Amazon gift card from Buzzsprout while signing up for a paid plan. Most importantly, every subscription through our link is always appreciated and helps support our show so we can continue delivering the quality content that you guys listen to. That being said, back to the show.
Hello, and welcome to Comic Book Junkies. I'm Andrew.
This is Joe.
And this time we're hitting you with a tropes episode, going over a bunch of comic tropes. You know, has anybody kind of made it their own? What are comic tropes? Stuff like that. If you already know, then see if you agree or disagree with us. If you have no idea what comic tropes are, then hopefully you learned something. Before we get into all that, how's it going, Joe? What's the move? What's been going on?
Good. I'm excited to play tropes and ladders with you.
Oh.
I actually I got some mail call before getting on this pod, and I was gonna open it up just to give myself a little extra zest before the pod,
like some smelling salts.
Yeah, just like some smelling salts. But I didn't have time, so maybe towards the end of the recording or right after, I'm going to open that up. But I ordered a first Huntress like 2 weeks ago. It was supposed to come a week ago. It's been lost in the mail for like a week, but it finally made it to my doorsteps today. So there's not a better day to record.
That's exciting. You know, who doesn't love a mail call, especially one that seems like it was never going to make it. But
speaking of which, a little backstory. I ordered the book like 3 weeks ago, and I waited a few days, and then the eBay seller says, I can't find the book anymore. Do you want something else or a refund? Yeah, K. It's like, yeah, I want the refund. And then, but whatever. And then I got so frustrated, I went on like a eBay rabbit hole at like midnight while my wife was sleeping right next to me and bought the same exact book again. So it's here now.
That ain't crazy.
Over.
It was taken from you. It's only right that, it's like a voucher. Like that money was already spent on a comic. Now you just need to get yourself something new to appease yourself since you got fooled.
Yeah, and I could have went with something different, but I was determined to get this Huntress. And by the way, it's DC Superstar 17, not All-Star Comics 69, which one day I will get. But I figured the Superstars was the better of the two books, so I wanted to start there.
I tend to agree with you. But speaking of starting there, how about we get into our topic, tropes? So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a strict guideline of what we're talking today. Perhaps, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, sometimes we do interpret things differently. But it looks like you got something on your mind, Joe. What's up?
I do. So I guess there's no room for misinterpretation. I figured we'd start off with another definition.
Of course.
I figured comic tropes could be defined as like common themes or like literary devices in relation to like American comic books being like exclusive to that medium.
I mean, I've got a few examples if you want to see if you agree or disagree with what I think some of the more common tropes are for y'all out there. So, I mean, secret identities, origin stories, supervillain dynamics, the moral codes that characters have, resurrections, their costumes, having mentor figures, secret bases, and even their team ups. I mean, that's quite the array of tropes, but I mean, those are all kind of like the bread and butter part of the formula of superhero comics. And I mean, can you think of one of your favorite characters that doesn't have, at least a handful of these? Like every comic character basically has some type of definition for almost each one of these tropes, or has, they've experienced it, in terms of like resurrections and team ups. But there's a lot of different things, even though it just feels like we basically just explained like the parts of a comic book story to you.
It's kind of like what makes a Western, like are there horses in it? Are there gunslingers? Or like with horror
barrels?
Yeah, with horror, is there like blood? Is there some kind of like
dumb people?
Yeah, walking into a room when they know they shouldn't, just stuff like that. It's like what makes this medium so unique.
What makes this medium large?
Yes, but uh, uh
Sorry,
I
bro.
guess metaphorically, not physically, but what are your favorite tropes in comics, Burger?
My favorite? That's tough. I mean, if we count costumes, like I love like the absurdity of like costumes in superhero comics. Like, I mean, it's a trope because like they all have them, but like if this was grounded in reality, I feel like we'd see a more militaristic, kind of like sleek, maybe camouflaged, maybe these guys are wearing all black instead of like flamboyant red, blue, and yellow costumes and stuff like that. So I like that, like, not only do they have like absurd powers, but like they dress like freaks too, kind of just to make it aware, like everyone knows.
Like Deathstroke's first appearance with the swashbuckler
Those go dumb. Like
boots
that's
and the yeah.
yeah, like that era Captain America. Well, up until recently, the Captain America with the chainmail. You know what I'm saying? Like that just goes hard. And yeah, definitely the swashbuckler boots. I mean, it's not the 80s anymore, but those shouldn't have gone out of style for superheroes because I mean, Cap had those as well. I mean, those went hard in the paint.
Okay, so
But
you like a lot of the artistic tropes.
yeah, it's just I like goofier stuff, and it's just like there you would never see anybody dressed in like a bat, or we wouldn't see or like Wonder Woman, like how impractical her costume is, but just kind of like that it gives them like their it speaks to their,
How so?
because she's never wearing pants for one, and she's always it's like, and she
Makes her
literally
more
only has,
aerodynamic.
I guess she's
Next,
got two little wrist gauntlets.
deflects
um
bullets.
yeah, she's
Completely
gotta be
functional.
pretty precise with that. But you know what I mean though. But
I'm
it's just
just
like each. I know you.
being
I know you're
silly.
playing, bro. I know you're playing. but but it's just what they decide to go with when they get a costume, whether they made it themselves, it was bestowed upon them, kind of what their design is, what their colorway on everything is, like what.
Speaking of which, if you're a Robin, it's always bestowed on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he picks your outfits.
Yeah. He says, you're wearing the green skibbies, my boy.
What a
Long
freak.
cape, short pants. He said, get on the rooftops. That's kind of weird. What's up with him, dude? And it's just like he doesn't give Robin no Kevlar part of his costume. Robin's just in his green Speedo, and he's completely like, what's anti-bulletproof? Bullet? I don't even
Friendly.
know. Bullet friendly. Thank you. Yeah, like the most flamboyant costume, brightly colored when they're flying around at night on the rooftops. Like, yeah, you can't see me, but you could see my child ward. Like, go after him. It's like, what the hell?
I
You know what I'm
can't
saying?
blame the guy, I guess.
Yeah, his decoy orphan children.
Yeah.
That's kind of messed up. And he's surprised that one of his Robins died.
Yeah. Just sets
He
him up
like,
for failure.
I know,
And then,
beats
yeah,
himself up about it. And he's like, how did I not see this coming?
wild.
But, you asked me what my favorite is. What's your favorite trope?
I don't know. There's so many good ones. I think like
Cop
the
out.
hero villain dynamic is cool. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that goes back to like even religion. You know what I mean? Like the duality of heaven and hell and night and day.
Whoa.
But
Black
I
Man and Aquaman.
especially, yes, was going to get to the point of like complete opposite heroes and villain tropes, like Flash and Reverse Flash, like literally like the same freaking character, but inverse colors.
Cool.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Or like even as, small as like Sinestro being yellow versus Hal Jordan being green, or Venom, and Spider-Man, just how they look pretty identical, but like it
Every
just kinda...
Marvel movie. Ant-Man in Yellow Jacket, Black Panther and Killmonger. It's
right.
Yeah, except that's lame.
It just represents like how different the hero's life could have been if they went down a different path. But I also find it fun when like superheroes fight other superheroes. That's kind of a cool trope. Like Frank Miller's like Superman versus Batman was good, and there's been some pretty sweet comic covers to go along with it. Speaking of like the artistic tropes, like you got Wolverine versus Hulk, like that Todd McFarlane cover is really cool. Or even like as small as like Captain America versus Iron Man during Civil War, right? But in that same vein, when villains team up, I feel like that's kind of a lamer trope to me. It sounds good, but I can't think of a time where it like checked all the boxes for me.
The
Alternatively,
closest
I like it when you find out who like the big bad is at the very end, like as opposed to just like Lex
off
and
rip.
Joker teaming up.
Yeah, like when there's that secret little twist, like, oh, for 6 out of 8 issues, they've been fighting so and so, but in issue 7, oh my God, it was actually him. And then, and then it all gets wrapped up in an issue, anyways. But to your point, when it comes to the supervillain team up, I'm kind of with you. I don't really know that there's a time where it's been flawless. Now, I'm sure that there's going to be a bunch of rabble rousers saying, like, come on, dipshit, you know that this one was cool. But what generally comes to mind is, at least for like the top tier of that in my mind, is Brainiac and Luthor teaming up, because that was in Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and it was in Justice as well. And I mean, that's as close as it gets. There's always parts where it's like, yeah, they could have tied up, another way. But at the same time, I kind of get what you're saying, because like when you think of I mean, I don't know any story in specific, but like, when they like end up making like Killer Croc like a henchman for like some other Bat villain, and then like they do this and that, it's kind of just like they want to fit 2 villains in just to appeal to more people instead of actually coming up with like a cool idea to tie them in together, because it always seems like it's one guy working for the other and never really like a true symbiote. Like, they're not 50-50 on this. It's always like
never,
the one's in charge, and obviously they're going to screw the other one out of something, or somehow Killer Croc, who lives in the sewers, is listening to a crime boss for the money he doesn't really need and can't spend. It's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, just make it make sense. But
you're right.
Won't fault them for trying.
I guess thinking about it, my favorite trope is when in comics is when the hero has a complete loss of faith, like their faith is tested, not like religiously, but like in general.
Daredevil?
Like yes,
Literally.
Daredevil.
His Catholicism, dude.
Yeah, or like when Peter Parker throws away his costume, like in that Kingpin issue.
Then he gets it back out of the trash.
Yeah, or like Crisis or Identity Crisis, stuff like that. It makes reading comics really fun for me.
I agree. Now, as far as tropes we dislike, I don't know if we've put much thought into that. There's one that clearly comes to mind, like Resurrections.
Yes, that's up there with me too. For
what a tired trope. Like, the horse has been dead, bro. We can stop beating it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone and their brother has been resurrected. The only people who have not are like what? The original Gwen Stacy, the original Uncle Ben, and then is that it at this point? Because I mean, there's been like multiverse versions that have been like, or clones, but like, or Captain Marvel, him too. But
do Batman's parents count?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been brought back.
Thomas Wayne's
a different Earth.
Clark's dad.
But
he's
Pa
usually
be kicking
dead.
Sometimes though. Pa's alive
just to
half
die.
The time. He does live to die, don't we all? But
whoa, what a trope!
What a trope! But at this point, everyone who has died has come back, and at a certain point, I mean, everyone's trying to catch that wave that the original Death of Superman kind of gave to deaths in comics. But you can't catch lightning in a bottle like that, especially when you announce it months in advance now. You're doing it to Moon Knight, Wolverine, Miss Marvel, and everybody all in the same year.
It's literally in the title. It's just like, how low can the fruit hang?
Pretty low, dude. Wait till it's hot out. But you know what I'm saying? But it is pretty lame. I don't know. Like, I mean, I get it at this point, especially because there is no permanence in killing any of these characters anymore, but we have to find a way to either just not kill them. Just like we need to stop making, okay, I'm getting off topic already, but we need to stop making Batman poor. Kind of doesn't make sense. Like, especially in comics nowadays, they took away Alfred, and now like every other writer's coming in and they're just trying to make sure that Bruce has no money and almost no friends. It's like, who enjoys that? Batman's a billionaire who chucks batarangs at people and drives like weird bat themed cars at people. He can't do that on no budget. Like, you're not teaching us anything new. Do that with Green Arrow or something. But any rich character loses their fortune every other year, and then whoa, they magically got it back. Like, that's becoming a trope at this point. I'm pretty sure Iron Man, Green Arrow, Batman, they've all lost their fortunes at some point, and then whoop-de-doo, back to being rich again. It's like, how are they this bad with their money? Like, is it the Riddler? Is it the Joker? Like, what's going on? Like, there's some new ones that are popping up that aren't just your standard tropes, I guess, because of how Oh, here's another one. How about Gotham being in a war state every other month nowadays? Catwoman War, the War of Jokes and Riddles, the Riddler War, the Gotham War, the Robin War.
Events in
It's
general, but yeah, war specifically.
war specifically, but yeah, how about events being is that as an event a trope now ever since
I
that
think
started
so.
popping off? There's 3 a year per company now. It's just like make it stop. Like I don't know who you think's buying all the tie-ins, but it's not most normal folk, at least on a consistent basis. I'm pretty sure those are being printed to like languish in dollar bins and on racks that don't keep books in good conditions. So it's like, I don't know who those are for. You may as well just rip the cover off and ship them back. But like, there's some negative tropes. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. A lot of cool things that we like in comics come from tropes like secret bases, a lot of cool secret bases. I mean, the Bat Cave, the Fortress of Solitude. Like, there's good things. The Avengers Mansion, like what is it? The Institute for Gifted Children, Charles Xavier, like cool.
Even the Titans got that T-shaped building in the
Hell yeah, Titans Tower, dude. Jump
yeah, and
City,
then you got Baxter building.
Baxter Building, like there's cool things. I was gonna like start saying like mentor figures, but then I'm like, don't got a lot off the top of the dome. I just keep thinking about Pa Kent. Like, who's Captain America's like mentor figure? Uncle Sam. I want you. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's good and bad with all of these tropes, but it's at this point, like, I don't know how you can tell any comic story without touching on half of them, or even creating a new character, without using a lot of those. I mean, can you really come up with a new character that doesn't have basically a mentor figure, some type of secret base that does not team up with anyone and probably won't die and be resurrected at some point? Probably not. You're going to check off all those boxes and within the first 5 years of that character being a thing, probably the first 2 years at this point, Some characters don't die anymore. They just don't get printed, which I don't know which is worse.
Yeah.
Is that a trope at this point? Introducing characters to not use them ever again?
I don't know.
All the promising young characters that they keep making as of the past handful of years that actually seem to interest me, that they just are like, nah, we're good.
Yeah,
that's my new trope. Yep, that's my new one. Mismanagement. It's a trope.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think that the death of stuff is the worst.
Ugh.
Granted, I love the death of Superman and the Dark Phoenix saga, but what's done is done. And like Gwen Stacy, I wish they would just find ways to make the deaths permanent, because it's hard to take it seriously with all the different loopholes available to bring these characters back. But I guess the other trope that I don't really care for is like superhero weddings. Those are kind of lame.
Oh.
Like, it's obvious that like Clark is meant to be with Lois Lane, but like otherwise, like, you can miss me with that. The only one that ever kind of made sense was like Spider-Man and Mary Jane, but they're not even actually like together. And it just goes to show that the will they or will they not romances are a lot better as a trope. Just something about like that tease or like drawing out the relationship and like the drama that comes along with it is like a lot more interesting, kind of like Daredevil's relationship with like Elektra versus like just like some fat nerd making these characters like marry each other. Like, to me,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
weird.
Just playing dolls on pen and paper.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, yeah, like you said, there's a handful where it's like, yeah, they definitely should be together in some capacity. Like, obviously, the Fantastics, yeah, Mary Jane and Peter Parker, Superman and Lois. But it's like, it's even ambiguous with like some of the characters who've had like multiple partners, I guess, like, is there really like a true love for Batman? Like, he could realistically be with Vicky Vale, he could get with Talia in a different world, he could get with Catwoman, but sometimes it feels more like when it's more ambiguous like that, who they could/should end up with. Like, one, who is that for you to decide, Mr. Writer guy of the moment? And two, like, does it make sense? And what are your plans long term? Like, let's not actually marry Batman and Catwoman and then like not know what the hell to do with it. Because I mean,
Yeah,
even when
like
they're
Star Sapphire and Hal Jordan, like that kind of stuff is cooler to me.
yeah, like even when they do go through with it and then like they want to like undo it, it gets messy because if they get divorced, I mean, Is it going to be amicable? And then how are you going to explain that? If it's not, then that means it's messy and half of Peter Parker's shit is worth nothing. And then you can't write about Mary Jane anymore unless it's a solo series. And then, you know what I mean? And then specifically them, they're just in limbo now. They had literally had to get the devil involved to undo their marriage, which was a load of baloney. And now nothing has been right ever since, in my opinion. I mean, cool that Pete wants to like shag Black Cat, like that's fine too. But like you feel like there's like almost a sense of destiny with him and like Mary Jane that isn't there with Black Cat. But so you know what I mean? Like some are like hand in glove rather than just like of the moment. And it's just like, I don't know, like they literally had to get the devil involved, like make a deal, like no one will remember your marriage so he could bring his dead aunt back to life. Okay, that surely won't cause any problems moving forward. It's like, how about stuff like that? Because that actually ties into another trope I do enjoy, secret identities. And, you know, having to keep up that facade, you know, like I enjoy billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne more than sulking, brooding, I'm Bruce Wayne is the alter ego. I'm Batman 99% of the time. And it's like, okay. It's like I cry on the rooftop and bought my bologna and my rubber boots. I'm never Bruce. I don't have fun with all my money and being normal. It's just like, you know, and like Clark Kent, like how he's a bumbling fool. It's the best. You know, having watched a lot of Superman stuff recently, I watched the All-Star Superman animated film again. Well, not again, but, you know, I know the story. So watching it was cool. You know, just how even in that, when he was literally Superman, came clean to Lois, she still honestly couldn't believe that Clark and Superman were one and the same, as how good he is at keeping a secret identity. Same with Barry Allen. Reading early Silver Age stuff, nobody would ever suspect Barry Allen to be the Flash because the dude's late to everything. And, Iris was literally every single issue I've read roasting him about how he's like a turtle and he sucks in comparison to the Flash because he never makes it on time to their date. So it's just cool, like what they have to do to keep up that difference in their two lives and kind of the dangers of if they mess up, which happened in Civil War. Spider-Man told the whole world that he's Peter Parker, and then Aunt May got tossed up like not long thereafter, which set apart, you know, set on the story of everything that we just talked about in regard to him losing his marriage too. So it's just like it's a whole crock of crap when you want to undo every trope at once for one character. His aunt dies, and then he has to make a deal with the devil to get a divorce. That's why you shouldn't undo too much at once. One thing at a time, please.
I agree. Well, I guess my last question for you in regards to tropes are, do you feel like any creators, whether they're like writers or artists, have really like deconstructed these tropes to kind of create their own unique narratives?
Yeah, I'd say there's three that I could come off of. I won't elaborate too crazy. I forget the creative team, but for like Superman, Red Sun, where Superman is basically crash landing in the Soviet Union. It kind of, it's, you know, it's a more fresh perspective on his ideals and how they'd be shaped under different heritage. I haven't watched it because I don't care too much, but you know, kind of how The Boys handles things. It's kind of like a satirical version of superheroes and, you know, all the crap that comes along with them, especially when you add a sense of realism to it. And lastly, I would say Watchmen, you know, Alan Moore. It honestly, it just deconstructs the whole genre, you know, the more psychological and moral complexities, I guess, of like what superheroes would be like if they were real. So I think those are all kind of different things. They all kind of touch on kind of what the morality of superheroes in a realer situation would be like, but they kind of touch on a little bit of all of the tropes. Do you have any?
I was gonna say the exact same thing. I know it's obvious, but like anything Alan Moore does, honestly,
Yeah.
especially Watchmen. I mean, dude literally took Charlton characters and expressed to readers like what it would actually be like living as a superhero and how much like violence they're exposed to and what kind of like a freak in real life they would have to be to dress up to beat people up in the middle of the night. Like just kind of like painting that picture, I guess you don't really see because of how campy the genre has been. It's just it goes past Watchmen. Like anything, like if you are looking for that kind of unique narrative, I would start with Alan Moore, because he's the best when it comes to like just questioning all the tropes that come along with comic books.
Cosign. With
That's
that,
it, big dog. I'm about to open up my book.
Yeah, I mean, you want to do it while we're on, or are you trying to wrap her up?
Start wrapping her up. I'm gonna go grab it.
Okie dokie. While he's grabbing, I'll start rapping. So, with that, if you're new here, welcome. Thanks for joining. You can go ahead and check the link in the podcast description that you're listening to this on. You'll be able to see all of our social media tags, handles, links, everything like that. Or I could tell you right now, it's at CBJ Pod on Instagram. That's our main hub. If you want to get at us, slide in our DMs there. We do have an email as well. We have a YouTube page. YouTube page is just a feed for backup for all of our podcasts, just audio on those for the time being, but they'll be up there for forever as far as I know. And yeah, I mean, if you want to hit us up, like I said, Instagram's the best bet. New books we get, we post them there. What we're reading, we'll put that out in advance. And yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't think we have a firm plan for what we're going to hit you with next time. A little bit of how the sausage is made. We're working on some timing stuff. We will be getting back into our reading. Obviously, we do love to read and review classic stories, stuff of that sort. So we'll definitely have more of those to come. We've been a bit topic heavy this year because we're busy fellas. But, in the near future, we'll be doing that. Otherwise, you'll be hearing more inspired topics such as this in your earwaves. Those will be coming out every other Wednesday. For those of you who are new here, if you're a friend of CBJ, a junkie yourself, then you're already hip to our release schedule. We don't miss it, so neither should you.
Just
What's up, Joe?
Yeah, I don't know where you're at with that, but so far, great packaging. For it being lost for a week, I was nervous that this thing was just going to be like rattling around in some box, but so far I'm impressed. Wow. Now I'm actually getting into the biddles of it. A lot of tape, which is annoying to unpackage, but probably good for the book itself. Let's see what I got.
Wow, what a great package. They packed it so great. Wow, guys. What a great package. Yeah, I'm just trying to vamp right now because this guy's staring at his stuff. He's pulling it out. The tape's really setting him back a bit. He doesn't know what to do. He's used to Velcro on his shoes, not tape on cardboard. So he's just like, oh, just kidding. But it looks like our guy has eyes on the prize. You won't be able to see this because we're an audio only experience. So we're going to just make noises about how cool it looks.
It's a beaut. It's better than it looked on the listing. Very impressed with condition. Looks like there's a fresh board in the back, but
it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, because I'm about to put a new board in there anyway with the Mylar. But the bag is one of those for anybody who collects or is wanting to collect. There's these like bags that like glue themselves.
The resealables.
The resealables, like just get some tape, guys. Come on.
The resealables feel like you're dancing with the devil, dude.
Yeah, when you go to take it out, I've never had an issue, but it does make you a little nervous. But I mean, probably just got the book as is and sent it to me. I'm sure he didn't put a fresh bag and board on it. But if you are a real resealable guy, don't be. But otherwise, very impressed with the packaging. Very nice condition book. Excited to get this in a new bag and board. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, once that guy gets a Mylar and new board in it and he sends me a pic, it'll be in the queue on our backlog of new books to check out. So make sure to hit up the Instagram at CBJ Pod to see what all our pickups are there. And believe me, there's been plenty. But with that, we bid you adieu. We'll catch you next time.
Later, guys.